How's it going, everyone? This is Seb from the King of Knights TCG channel, and today we're going over a deck profile for one of the new deck that's gotten a lot of support in EX8, and it is one of my favourite decks. It is Gallantmon. It has taken this long for me to finally talk about a deck focused around the knight, considering the name of the channel is King of Knights, which is really funny. But yeah, Gallantmon had a lot of support in EX8. The deck is finally unfair. It's no longer a fair deck, I'd say. Which a lot of people complain about Gallantmon beforehand, is that like a lot of the deck cards were too fair. Finally, we've got a lot of cards that are a bit belligerent. They're very silly, and I think the deck is finally. I think it's deserved this for a long time. So yeah, we'll get into deck profile. I've been to 2 locals this week, and I've done well at both of them. And so I've sort of compiled after playing at both of them, what I've liked, what I've not liked, and seeing what other people have liked and have preferences with, and sort of this is the 50 that I've currently come to a conclusion on, which I'm comfortable on. And yeah, we'll get straight into it. Okay, so starting off with the Digi-Eggs, as all decks tend to do, we're on 4 copies of the Gallantmon from EX2. This is the when attacking draw 1 Gallantmon. The reason we're on this one is just because I feel like sometimes your deck is a bit piece reliant, and you need to be able to find your pieces. And the draw 1 is the easiest way to help find them. And then we're also on our 5th egg. We're on one of the Gallantmon from BT12, just a way of pumping up our numbers for deletion effects is really important. Also, 7k Crimson Blazers does go hard. That's it for the eggs. I'm not on the Floodgate popping one just because we have enough ways to pop small bodies. It's more popping big bodies that we need help with, so I'm not on the BT17 one. I have looked into playing like a DP gain egg, which I thought about, but just not had access to them, and I don't think I'd play them even if I had them. I think the draw 1 is perfectly fine. Then on to the level 3s, we are on 4 copies of Gallantmon from EX2, and we're on 4 copies of Gallantmon from EX8. So these are the ones you have to play 4 of, in my opinion. These are the staple Gallantmons of the deck. These are your searchers. This one on play checks top 4 for a member of the line other than himself and a Takato, so it's your way of finding your tamers, the easiest. And inheritable, being able to pop small bodies, 3k or less, is really important. And this one is effectively like Agumon and Gallantmon X. It's the on play on Evo check top 3 for a member of the line and the X antibody option card. And it's inheritable, it's absolutely insane. Getting memory from pop bodies is always helpful. It helps you push out at a lower level and be able to build your full stack is really insane. And then the other Gallantmons I'm playing, it was sort of just like, which other Gallantmons do I want to see in addition to these 2? So we're on 2 of the starter deck 7 Gallantmon, the Warp one, and we're on 2 Rush Gallantmon from EX4. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just on play gets Rush. This is your main scramble target. Being able to play this, get Rush, and then either build your line or just biomerge with your Takato into a Gallantmon is really important. And we're on 2 of this one. I've seen some lists either not playing it or playing only 1 of it. I think 2 of it is really good, just because in the mirror match, the rebuild is so important. Is that when you push out your first stack and make a Gallantmon, you just have to accept that Gallantmon is not making it back to you. So you need to prepare to be able to rebuild the Gallantmon quickly, and this is the quickest way to do it, is just to use this. And also the inheritable of when you delete a guy, draw 1 is another way of finding your pieces. So that's it for the rookies. There's not much else I'd say you could play. The BT12 one, you don't really need to play it because I'm on a lower Takato count now than I used to be, so finding your Takatos isn't really... He's more likely to whiff, so he's just going to bottom deck 4 pieces. So you don't really need that one. And the DP buff he used to give was really helpful, but now we've got Gallantmon X, so the DP buff from him sort of is just more useful. And the DP buff from the BT12 Gallantmon is no longer required, effectively. Then on to level 4s, we're on 4 Gallantmon X from EX8, 3 starter deck Gallantmon, and 1 BT17 Gallantmon. So this is the new Gallantmon X. Card's insane. You draw 1, trash 1 because it's half purple, and then if Gallantmon or its antibodies in the stack, he gives the whole Digimon stack on deletion play Gallantmon from trash. So your best target to play out is probably the Rush Gallantmon or the Warp Gallantmon to be able to make another Gallantmon and swing straight away. And then this one, the reason I'm on this one is that no when Digivolving effect is actually really good, because sometimes you'll have to just build in the back. In a lot of matchups, the easiest way to fix them is just build in the back and then promote and make Gallantmon X in one turn. And not having an undigital effect is actually really helpful, because it means you're not really missing out on anything. But also, the memory gain both of these give is, as I said before, for the Gallantmon X, it helps you, if you need to push out earlier, it means you can make a stack and most likely keep turn without having to rely on blitz, which is really good. And this one, another way of popping small bodies, and it's also another DP buff, and also the inheritable of just being able to pop increases our DP threshold for deletions by 2000 DP to this Digimon specifically, is really good. And another thing to know about this Growlmon is being a 4K body is actually does come up, because it means that, like, if you need to, you can just drop it, go into place Protoform underneath it, make Gallantmon X, which hasn't come up yet, but it's something to keep note of. That's it for the level 4s. I'm not playing the BT12 Growlmon, just because you'll always have a Takato on the board whenever you go into it. Just what I found is that, like, your turn 1 plays are mostly Gallantmon plus training or Gallantmon plus Takato. So immediately when the Digimon effect is turned off, and once again the DP buff isn't really needed anymore, because, like, if everything goes to plan, your Gallantmon X is 23k during your opponent's turn, which is insane. So you don't need his DP buff really anymore. Then the level 5s, I'm only on 6, which seems really tight, but I've not had any problems whiffing on level 6. It was a level 5, sorry. I've not had any problems with it. I was on 7 and then one less level 4, and I was bricking on level 4, so I've just found an easy solution. Put this down to 6 because I don't have problems at 6 of the level 5s, and then increasing your level 4 count is what I came to the conclusion of. So we're on 3 of the new War Growl X from EX8, 2 EX3 War Growl, and 1 BT12 War Growl. So, in my opinion, this is the best card from BT12 for the Gallantmon line. This card is insane. But we'll talk about this one first. This is the new card. It gets protection. It gives itself can't return to hand or bot deck, so it's good against things like Imperial and Deep Savers. And also, he gets a 3k buff, so it's another way of pumping up your DP. And then if War Growl is in the stack, or antibody is in the stack, he then pops a 10k or less guy, which means that once you make him, if you have these cards in the stack, the Growl X, Starter Deck Growl, and the Gil X, you're gaining free memory. So if you've gone his Protoform into this straight away, you've refunded his own Evo cost, which you can use to then go into a Gallantmon afterwards. And this one, it's another way of just looping your Takatos against Tamer hate decks. Your Takatos will get killed off, and being able to replay them out with this is really good. And also playing out Gilmons for extra searching or as a rush body is also really strong. And then the reason why I wanted this is because out of all the War Growls, this is the best one if you have to commit to going in raising, because the end of attack, getting to memory back if your opponent has no Digimon, is actually really, has to come up a lot. It means that you can, like, pass your opponent to like 3, you blitz at the end of your turn, and then you go back to 1. So you've choked your opponent to 1. If they have a memory setter, they kind of have to play with just 1 memory, or 2 memory if they have start main phase tamers. And then also, at times, the when Digimon effect has come up, being able to pop some at 4k or less, and if you can't, going to a Gallantmon for reduced cost of 1 is really good, because it means that your BT13 Gallantmon costs slightly less, your BT17 Gallantmon costs 2, and Gallant X costs 3, and it means that if X7 is in the stack, you just go straight into Gallant X and then Blitz. So, yeah, these War Growls are insane. The BT17 War Growl, I'm not really on, because it doesn't really work in conjunction very well with Gallant X, because when you swing the Gallant X or you evo into Gallant X, if you delete something, the War Growl will make you unsuspend, and then you'll then miss timing for Gallant X to unsuspend at like end of attack or something. So I'm not on it. The security attack could be nice if you want to go for more of a like, you're just gonna kill your opponent in 1 turn sort of thing, which is fair enough. If that's what the kind of build you're going for, you can play it, but I personally am not partaking to it. Then on to the level 6s, we're on 3 Gallant X, 2 17 Gallant, 2 13 Gallant, and level 7s, we'll talk about them as well, 2 Crimson Modes, Ace. So, this is your new boss monster, Gallantmon X. It's insane. It's on Evo, on attack, you give something minus 4k and give him plus 4k, not once per turn, if Gallantmon X antibody is in the stack. And then on Evo, end of attack, you pop something 10k or less, and if you can't, you burn a security and unsuspend. And then all turns, while you have 0 or less memory, he's unaffected by Digimon effects, So it means that your opponent having to pass turn to be able to affect it, which is insane. It means that if you're at 0 memory when you swing or when you blitz, your opponent can't really ace you because they're sort of wasting a card in their hand because they aren't going to do anything about it if this is the only card on the board. And then we're on this Gallantmon because it's the one, it costs 3, but also being able to get the 3k and blocker is really important because it means that if you swing with this and then go into Gallantmon X, fail to pop something and unsuspend, you just have a big blocker during your opponent's turn, which your opponent can't like interact with other than option cards, which is really strong. We're on the secret rare Gallantmon we're on because being able to just hard play it is really important, and also it's one of the ways to deal with the mirror is that if you're going, your opponent pushes out first and builds a Gallantmon X, you just, if they have nothing else on the board, you just can go into this or hard play it and pop their Gallantmon X, and then they've lost their whole stack, and if they can't rebuild, you have just sort of, you've pushed the game so far in your favour that you should win from there. And Crimson mode, it stops you dying, it's the ace of the deck, also it will always win you the game sometimes. But that is it for the Megas. I've seen people saying you can play Rune mode, which is interesting, but in my opinion, Gallantmon X is just a better card than Rune mode. The protection you have from Gallantmon X is better than the turn skip you do from Rune mode, because if you pass your opponent such low memory with your War Growl and your memory gains, that your opponent can't really do anything anyway. But also, against decks like Imperial, Rune mode could be important because it stops them from being able to go as wide. So if that's something that you're sort of concerned about, is the Imperial matchup, you can play Rune mode, but I don't think it's really worth it because it's unsearchable. You just have to rely on yourself drawing into it, which is not the best thing to rely on. And then onto the Tamers, we're on 5, which is quite low. We're on 3 EX2 Takato and 2 BT17 Takato. We're on such a low count because of space. There's so many cards you want to play in this deck that space is very tight, and these are the only Takatos you really need. I've not had a problem missing any Takato during a game. I think this number has been fine. If you want to play more, feel free to, but I think this has been fine. I've not been desperate for any more of them. I was on Cool Boy at one point, but I've talked about it with a lot of people, and it is just it's a win more card. Sort of, he will whiff more times than he finds a target, and he will just be bottom decking 3 pieces, which those are the 3 pieces. One of those 3 pieces what you're needing to win the game, then you're just sort of losing at that point. And he also just takes up space in the deck that I wasn't really partaking to him, to be honest. But I'm not gonna say he's bad, because as a good friend of mine, Trix, has been saying to me, Tommy Trix, he said Cool Boy is a bait card, which is both a good and a bad thing, because against Tamer hate decks, they will see the value Cool Boy will get you more than they'll see the value of the Takatos. And also the Takatos are replayable, so they'll target Cool Boy because you can't replay him, which means that your Takatos are safe, which is a benefit, but also it just means that sometimes he's not as good as he could be. But he is also another 2 cost, a cheap play you can do if you want to. So it's sort of just, I go back and forth on Cool Boy. I'm currently not on it, but if you want to play Cool Boy, feel free to. But enough yapping about Cool Boy. I'll talk about what the Takatos do. This is the most important one in the deck. He gives Blitz when you delete someone, suspend and gain memory. Very important. Most of your attacks will be in Blitz timing, so having him is very important. And this one, it's your start main phase, gain a memory tamer, and also end of turn you biomod for free by specifically placing. It needs to be the specific members of each line. So it needs to be Growl, War Growl, and Gallantmon into Gallantmon. It can't be in name. So that's one of the reasons why we're not playing too many of him or playing the memory set Takato, is because I'm playing such a high count of the X antibody versions that the biomerge wouldn't always come up, but it's still nice to have. So that's it for the Tamers. Then on to the option cards. I am on 4 offense training, 2 red scramble, and then I'm on a bunch of one-ofs. I'm on 1 remember boost, 1 crimson blaze, 1 regular X antibody, and 1 protoform. So trainings and scrambles are very easy to explain. They reduce your play costs. Training's a searcher, and it also scramble lets you rebuild. Another way of rebuilding in the mirror is very important. Memory boost, the memory extension is very important. Also, it digs deeper and finds any Digimon. That's red. Crimson Blaze is for the Imperial matchup mainly, because you can shrink your opponent, your Digimon down to 4k, and then play Crimson Blaze. They now can't partition. And then the X antibody options were on one of each because whilst I was originally on 2 proto form, there were times where just to be able to slot this underneath would be what is important. And then you could say if you've got a War Growl, you can slot this underneath swing. If you can't, you're not gonna be able to blitz. You can place it underneath War Growl, swing with War Growl, go into Gallantmon X, and then still do all your effects, and then unsuspend and trash one and stuff. So playing one of each is, I think, the best option. I don't think you need 2 of proto form or like 2 of this. I think 1/1 is perfectly fine. And that's it for the deck profile. Just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll give a couple shout outs to the people who I've been talking about Gallantmon with a lot over the past couple weeks, because this deck is very popular, but these are the people I've been talking about talking about Gallantmon with. I've been talking to, first of all, I want to give a shout out to the 2 people at Fanboy, one of my locals who I go to, who play Gallantmon. They've played Gallantmon longer than I have, and they probably know the deck better than I do, but I'm talking to them a lot, and they are really cool. It is Tommy Tricks and Tommy NT. These guys are Gallantmon stans through and through, just like myself. We love Gallantmon, and they have been giving me their opinions of what their cards they like, and they've been taking into account the things that I like, so it's been really friendly discussions. And I also want to give a shout out to one of the people I work with at Jester Game Store, James. He's also been playing Gallantmon with me, and we've tested the Gallantmon mirror, I think about 4 or 5 like best of 3s just over the past weekend, and we just keep sharing our lists. We keep talking to each other about like what I prefer, what he prefers, and we've been taking into account very naturally what we think is best. And it's just, once again, just friendly discussions. It's very fun. This deck it's probably my favorite. It's my favorite Digimon. It's probably one of the favorite decks I've ever played. This is the first deck I ever built in Digimon. I got a Gallantmon starter deck. So to finally say it is one of the best decks in the format it feels unreal, and also the artwork on these cards is absolutely amazing. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and do all that YouTube stuff, and look out for more videos coming soon.